Copy 724, right. Descend and maintain 2000.
Descend and maintain 2074.
Comment 504, descend and maintain 3000.
3000, comment 504.
In this video, we're going to be talking about the runway incursion avoidance. So, what are the major areas that contribute to runway incursions? So, there are basically three major areas which can actually cause the runway incursions. One is the communications. Second one is airport knowledge. And the third one is the cockpit procedures for maintaining orientation. Procedures. So basically, misunderstanding the given clearance and failure to communicate well or effectively is gonna definitely could cause the runway incursions. Airport knowledge, if you don't know or failure to navigate through the airport correctly can cause that. And failure to maintain the situational awareness, like where your feet are, like just to make sure the environment and inside and outside of the airplane. If you fail to maintain the situational awareness, that can be another reason. Okay, pre-flight planning for taxi operations should be an integral part of the pilot's flight planning process. What information should this include? So, for the pre-flight planning, right? You need to review and understand the airport signature, markings and lightings. Then you should also review the airport diagrams. You should be aware of the NOTAMs or ATIS. You should definitely adhere to the ATIS in order to get information about the weather. You should conduct a pre-taxi and pre-landing briefing. That basically includes the taxi route and any hold short lines and any restrictions based on the ATIS information, that kind of stuff. You should also plan for critical times and location of the taxi route, right? Maybe there are some times where there is a lot of traffic and if you can avoid it, you should avoid it. Then there is plan to complete as many aircraft checklist items as possible prior to taxi. And believe me, the checklists definitely help even if you have been doing something for a very long time. If you follow the checklist, it becomes more mathematical and less prone to errors. What is an airport hotspot? So a hotspot is a runway safety related problem area or intersection of an airport. Normally they say it hotspot because there in the past there may have been some incidents, or they know that people have made mistakes in the past. That's why they call it hotspot. Okay, why in use of sterile cockpit procedures important when conducting taxi operation? Why we want to have the sterile cockpit procedures? So one thing is clear, that the pilots should be focusing on their duties without being distracted by the non-flight related matters, right? Unrelated to the safe and proper operation of the aircraft. So, and the passengers should be briefed on the importance of minimizing conversations and questions during the taxi as well as on the ground, right? So when they talk about the sterile cockpit, that basically means that, especially for the landing and the takeoff, the passengers should be quiet, and they should be briefed by the pilot, and the conversations and asking questions during that time should be minimum, so that the pilot can actually focus on the like flying the plane. Yeah. When should a pilot request progressive taxi instructions? And being like, it's a very good idea for us for the progressive taxi instructions. Also, student pilots, they are told to do that. So if you are, it doesn't have to be the student pilot. If you are unfamiliar with the airport for any reason, like the confusion exists and you don't know, you should ask for the progressive instruction, and they're gonna tell you like a layman, like about the structure of the runways, and they're gonna be explaining you every single point what you should be doing. So it's really, if you are unfamiliar with the airport, you should ask for the progressive taxi instruction. So after completing your pre-taxi or pre-landing briefing of the taxi route, you expect to receive ATC calls, and your ATC calls and gives you a different route. Right? You were expecting something, and like ATC gives you a call, and they give you a different route. So what potential pitfall is common in this situation? So expectations, like you were expecting something, and against your expectations, they gave you a different route to follow. So pilots need to follow the instructions that they actually receive, and not the ones they expect to receive. So basically, uh, so just remember that it can happen, and you should be aware of that, and you should listen to the instructions carefully. So basically, that's it. I wanted to cover about this one. Like, don't just follow the expectations. Why is it a good idea to write down taxi instructions? Right. So writing down taxi instructions is very important, especially complex instructions. It can reduce the pilot's vulnerability to forgetting part of the instructions, and provides a reference for read back of instructions to ATC. So you should actually, writing down is very important. Okay, when issue taxi instructions to an assigned takeoff runway, are you automatically authorized to cross any runway that intersects your taxi route? The answer is no. You should definitely be aware of that. Even if you have been assigned the runway, it doesn't mean you are clear to cross the runway. ATC will first specify the runway, and then they issue taxi instructions and state any hold short instructions or runway crossing clearances if the taxi route will cross a runway, right? So they will tell you when you are clear to uh, basically cross any of the crossings. Okay, when receiving the taxi instructions from a controller, pilots should always read back what information? Okay, remember that the the main ones which you should definitely read back are the runway assignment, any clearance to enter a specific runway, any instruction to hold short of a specific runway or line up and wait. These are the things you should definitely, these three ones, like when they say that which runway is assigned to you, you gotta read it back to them. when they say you are clear to enter the specific runway, you should read back to them. And the third one is hold short of a specific runway or line up and wait. These instructions should definitely be read back. Okay, what are some recommended practices that can assist a pilot in maintaining situational awareness during taxi operation? So remember that the things which can help you in situational awareness, and we are talking about the taxiing here. You can keep a airport diagram, and that's gonna help you. You can monitor the ATC instructions and the clearances issued to other aircraft and to you. You can focus attention outside the cockpit while taxiing, and you can basically use all these resources like the ATC uh, and keep the aircraft to the taxi route, those ones. Other ones is gonna be, as I mentioned before, like in previous videos, where like you can visually check the conflicting traffic and verbalize clear left and clear right, and just be alert there and that there can be a very similar like there can be other airplanes aircraft with the similar call signs, so you should be aware of that. Just make sure that if ATC is talking to you or not. And whenever in doubt, ask. Just remember, asking again is much better than doing something wrong. Okay, what can a pilot use? How can a pilot use aircraft exterior lighting to enhance situational awareness? So the exterior lighting, right? Uh, to the extent possible and consistent with the aircraft equipment, operation limiting limitations, and pilot procedure, uh, pilots should illuminate exterior lights, right? And like basically engine when the engine is running, turn on the rotating beacon whenever an engine is running. When you are taxiing, prior to commencing taxi, turn on the navigation position lights and the anti-collision lights. Whenever crossing a runway, all exterior lights should be illuminated when crossing the runway, right? And when entering the departure runway for takeoff, all exterior lights should be on to make your aircraft more visible. And when you are clear to take off, all exterior lights, including the takeoff landing lights, should be on. Okay, during calm and nearly calm wind conditions at an airport without an operating control tower, a pilot should be aware of what potentially hazardous situations. So just remember that if the weather is like the if the even if there are calm wind conditions and there is no ATC in there, aircraft may be landing uh, like or taking off on more than one runway at the airport. So just remember during the calm winds, because the wind is calm, you can actually take off from either runway, right? So if it is 1, this is 19, you can actually fly from either direction. Just remember that. Some people would be doing uh, like that. Uh, and also the aircraft may be using an instrument approach procedure to runways other than the runway in use for the VFR operations. So just remember that some of them are gonna be basically what I'm trying to say is like the if the it is possible that maybe an instrument arrival may be made to the opposite end of the runway from which the takeoff is being made. So it could be that you are making a takeoff from here and an instrument rating pilot is actually landing over here. So just be aware of that. Okay, you have just landed at a tower controlled airport and missed your assigned taxiway for exiting the runway. Is it permissible for you to turn around on the runway and return to the exit taxiway? The answer is no. You cannot turn you cannot turn around. Just remember that. No turnarounds possible. At the airport with the operating control tower, pilot should never stop and reverse course of the runway without first obtaining the ATC approval. And yes, if you do get an ATC approval, then you can do that. Okay, when taxiing at a non-towered airport, what are the several precautionary measures you should take prior to entering or crossing a runway? So you are on a non-towered airport and you want to take the precautionary measures, right, prior to entering or crossing a runway. So listen again to the appropriate frequency CTAF, like where all the pilots are communicating to each other. For the inbound aircraft information, and always scan the full length of the runway, including the final approach and the departure path before entering or crossing the runway. Just remember that. And the last thing I wanted to cover was like ATC has instructed you to line up and wait on the departure runway due to crossing traffic on an intersecting taxiway. What is considered reasonable amount of time to wait for a takeoff clearance before calling ATC? They may ask you to like hold short of this runway because there's gonna be another one. So how long you should keep waiting until you should actually ask for like for the next instructions. So basically the FAA analysis has shown that like if you have 2 minutes or more between the time of the instruction was issued to line up and wait and the resulting event, you should actually, so basically if you are holding in position on the runway for more than 90 seconds and you see or hear a potential conflict, basically you are not seeing any traffic coming in or anything like that, and you can actually from 90 seconds to 2 minutes you can contact them again. That's all I wanted to cover. Thanks for watching.